Okay, once again, this session is allotted for the discussion of the rest of the parts of Chapter 1 because last time you were given the assignment to create the statement of the problem and its parallel match survey questionnaire. So the first page of a Chapter 1 class in CTU, in our university's format, it must be the cover page. So the cover page, as what you have noticed right now, it is composed of the following: the title of the study, okay, right here. Then copy this in pyramid format. So each arrangement must be exactly the same when you will make your own cover page. Then for this particular part, you only have to change the name of the program. Instead of Master of Arts in Education, major in early childhood education, in your particular case, it's gonna be MAED, Master of Arts in Education, teaching mathematics, right? Now we'll proceed. So the next after the next page after the cover page, ideally it must be followed with approval sheet and the acknowledgement and dedication. But since you are not going to present this yet because you're not enrolling the thesis addendum, we'll just have to cut those through. Okay, we will not include the dedication acknowledgement. So right after the cover page, in your particular chapter 1 that you'll be submitting one of these days, it must be followed with a table of contents. And all the, if you notice it right here, class, tara. Okay, the abstract is only provided once you have fully crafted the entire parts of thesis. But we are only creating the chapter 1, so that is excluded still. So as I mentioned, di na to i-appeal ang dedication, only table of contents. After the table of contents, we will not also, sorry, we have to include the list of tables and figures. Okay? I-appeal tani ang list of tables and figure. In chapter 1, you only have to provide table 1. And in terms of figures, you only have to provide figures 1, 2, and 3. And later on, you will know what are those figures. Okay? I'll be explaining that later on. We'll proceed now. So this is the page where the introduction officially commences, class. Okay? So you have to observe it right here, chapter 1, then the problem and its scope, then introduction. Beside is the rationale of the study. Okay, when we say rationale of the study, it refers to a particular section where you have to present why there is a necessity to conduct this chosen study of yours. Okay? And technically, this introduction or rationale of the study must have the following contents. Allow me to present you the simplified contents of the introduction. Okay, this is it. Are these readable, class, in your end?
Yes, sir. Double reserve.
Okay, thank you everyone for that response. So the introduction or rationale of the study must contain the following. Firstly, general statement or situation. It could also, or you could also have a catchy statement, perhaps 3 to 4 statements, so that it could be called as a paragraph because the first paragraph of the introduction must contain this thing. General statement or situation plus the problem context. Then after you introduce that general statement, in most cases, once again, it is composed of 3 to 4 sentences. You proceed to the next paragraph and you talk about the global evidences, the global context of the variables that you are currently studying. Example, if you are exploring the results of PISA, no? Nga it underscores Filipino students have a low performance during the PISA assessment. That is a global context. Okay? So you could possibly state that. Then proceed to the Asian context class. Whatever the problems about mathematics in the Asian context, as mentioned by other studies, kindly capture those. And that's gonna be the third paragraph. Do you follow, class? Or in some cases, pwede po ninyo itipon si global context o Asian context. But if you want to put more emphasis, you could only or you could do also discussion of global context as one whole paragraph, then Asian context next. After the Asian context, proceed to Philippine context. Okay? You have to go to Google Scholar and other databases of the published research articles wherein you can find the different problems in mathematics performance as cited by Filipino authors, studies which are conducted right here in the Philippines. Okay, that's how you write the global context, class. I mean the Philippine context. After that paragraph, you may proceed to the local or division or school context. You may mention the division test if there's any, or the school's administered examination pertaining to that particular school year and quarter, because you as a teacher, you have this first-hand information. You become an eyewitness of this particular gap, of this problem, of this concern that exists in the school where you are connected or in the school where you have selected that one as the research environment of the study. Okay? Imong gipili ang maong eskwelahan kay nakita nimo nga nay problema anang dapita. Unya nakakita ka, nakaobserba ka. Okay? So that becomes your prefatory paragraph for you to mention nga maunay problema nga imong nakitaan. And because of this problema nga imong nakitaan, class, you have decided to explore or conduct this study. Okay? That's what we call as you establish the importance of conducting the study. Okay? Conducting the study or end with a clear justification of why it is important to study your variables in the statement of the problem. Okay? Ato lang ni mo buong class. Establish why the importance of conducting the study or in with a clear or end with a clear justification and connect that to the general problem statement. Do you know what is general problem statement? You have seen that. The one that I am sending to you, the SOP, that's the general problem statement can be found right there. Okay, allow me to demonstrate. Are you seeing now the chapter 1, class? I'm trying to move this thing. I will go to the statement of the problem. Okay. Are you seeing the problem statement of the problem? Are we seeing the same?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, class. So that's why I'm asking, because right here in my end, I'm seeing, I mean, I have shifted from the previous slide to this other material. Okay, allow me to stop this one. What about now?
Yes, sir. Yes, daw.
Sir.
Okay, thank you, class. So allow me to demonstrate the parts of the statement of the problem or SOP. This first part right here is what we call as general problem statement. Okay? That's general problem statement. That is the statement that you have to connect to the justification why there's a need to conduct the study. The one that I mentioned minutes ago. Mobalik na po ko klasa sa akong previous nga material. Are you seeing this? Everyone.
Statement of the problem, sir.
Okay, ako na po i-stop. Okay, what about now?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Maoto ang akong but pasabot class nga i-connect nimo. Right after you have established the importance, di ba? Nanay gap. There's the gap. Then you state the importance of conducting the study. And after stating that, connect the general problem statement, the one that I said minutes ago. Because the general problem statement, it must serve as the last sentence in the last paragraph of the introduction. Okay? Anyway, I'll be sending you a copy of this recorded video class para maka-play mo. Whatever. Okay? So that's how you create the rationale of the study or the introduction of your study. If you notice it, class, that is in the form of deductive approach. From the general statement or situation, you proceed to the global context or evidence, then Asian context, Philippine context, local division school context, until you identify the research gaps and write why there's a necessity to conduct the study, then connect that one to your general problem statement. Deductive approach from larger ideas going down to the most specific reason why you have decided to conduct this study. Okay? You can use this format whether it may be thesis writing, dissertation writing, or you're gonna publish a research in an international reputable journals, just like the Journals Index in Web of Science or Scopus Plus. That's how you do it. So let's proceed to the next part of the chapter 1. Theoretical background. Okay? So in the theoretical background, in CTU format class, you have to write it using the following template. First, begin with the theories. Okay? Theories like social learning theory, the Marxism theory, the theory of Sigmund Freud, no? Psychosexual analysis theory, and the rest of the thousands of theories, you only have to select minimum of 2 theories and maximum of 4. But if I were you, why would you select 4 if it's okay to have 2 theories? Okay, unless otherwise you are being told by the panel, by the thesis advisory committees that you have to include these theories. But it's easy right now to find a theory or theories relevant to your study. You can ask the assistance of generative AI class. Okay? Copy and paste your statement of the problem and prompt the AI to suggest 4 theories connected to this research problem or connected to this statement of the problem, and the AI will tell you. That's it. But do not just copy and paste it. You have to paraphrase, okay? So I'll be going back to the previous actual chapter 1 to concretize the insight. After this discussion class, perhaps you would be telling that sayo na rin mo buhat og chapter 1 og thesis. Anyway, balik ta. Okay, theoretical. Tara. So this is officially the section where theoretical background of the study begins. The first paragraph right here, i-mention ni mo unsay mga theories o legal basis na ka-connect sa imong study. Okay? Then you proceed to discussing the theory. In this case, we have the first theory is B.F. Skinner. Then you discuss what the theory is all about and discuss furthermore how this theory supports your study at hand. How this theory is connected to your study. Okay? Then proceed discussing, after this section class, iniguman ani nga section, ang next page ana must be non-negotiable theoretical framework or the diagram, conceptual framework. Mao ni. Okay? How to write a conceptual framework? You can copy and paste this exact diagram, or you can have also you can innovate this thing. But please do not forget that on the left side, you mention the theories. In this case, we only have two theories. On the right side, mention the legal basis that you have used in this study. The legal basis that support your study. Legal basis which are connected to your study. So theories, legal basis, then at the center, this is the title of your study. After the title of the study, the last box, this is the output of your study. Where can you find the output of the study? Okay, class, kindly take a look of your respective statement of the problem that I sent to you. The last question that is talking about the output of the study. Okay? Like in this case, allow me to go to the statement of the problem. Okay, right here. So, I had already told you that this is the general problem statement, right? Katong akong gilinginan ganiha. Okay? That's the first part of the statement of the problem. Kaning number 1 diri class about what is the profile of the respondents. It's known as research questions. Ang tawag na to ani also in thesis format, these are sub-problems. So sub-problem number 1 that talks about the profile. Sub-problem number 2 that talks about the extent of the challenges. So ang tawag kanina sa ubos sub-variables. These are sub-variables of the sub-problem. Sub-problem 1, these are the sub-variables of sub-problem number 1. Sub-problem 2, these are the sub-problems of the sub-problem, sub-variables of the sub-problem number 2. So sub-problem number 3, extent of interventions. These are the sub-variables of sub-problem number 3. Sub-problem number 4. Sub-problem number 4, the question goes, is there a significant difference between the teachers' and parents' perception on the challenges encountered and interventions provided? Plus, if you will encounter correlational questions like this, you do not need to provide questionnaire of that because the data of sub-problems 2 and 3 will be used to answer sub-problem number 4. I assume you know that because your major is mathematics, right? So how will you know that the question is correlational? If it goes like, is there a significant relationship? Is there a significant difference? That is correlational question. Those are correlational questions. You don't need to supply survey questionnaire for that because the correlational questions can be answered with the data gathered from previous or from other sub-problems, right? So sub-problem number 5, correlational question gyapon. Significant relationship between the extent of the challenges and challenges encountered and interventions. So the one that I was saying minutes ago, you will know that that is the output of the study because the output of the study, it is always stated at the last sub-problem. In this case, we have sub-problem number 6. And sub-problem number 6, it always starts with, based on the findings, what behavior modification guide can be crafted or can be proposed. So this is the output of the study, behavior modification guide. Okay, let's go back to the theoretical framework, the diagram that I was talking about. So this is the output of the study. And this will be written as the last, this will be written in the last box of the theoretical framework. So behavior modification guide, kindly remember that. So that's it. behavior modification guide. So it coincides with the insights that I'm telling you, class. Then beneath that, this is your first figure. You have to write figure 1, theoretical conceptual framework of the study. This is non-negotiable because this is institutional format in our university. Do you follow? So, right now, kindly take a picture or screenshot of this theoretical framework and we will examine because the presentation of the theories must be discussed in the same sequence. And the presentation of these legal basis must be discussed in the same sequence in the succeeding sections or pages rather. Okay? So giun sa pag-arrange dire, the same arrangement ini-discuss. Giun sa pag-arrange dire, the same arrangement pagka-discuss. So man mo take og screenshot, we will be walking through the paper to examine whether this is exactly done. Okay. I'll go down now, class. Ganina ni-mention ko tara, the first B.F. Skinner, right? Iyang gidiscuss unsa ang kaninga theory o iyang girelate sa iyang study. Okay, how does the theory support the study? Or how the theory is connected to the study? Man na, we're done with B.F. Skinner. Next, social learning theory class. Social learning theory by Albert Bandura. It's right here. You discuss on sana siya nga theory and provide discussion also how the theory is connected to your study. Next, we'll proceed now to the legal basis. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Doc. Yes, Doc.
Okay, next. DepEd Order number 40 series of 2012, the first legal basis, right? It's right here. Next, unsay naa sa to ang framework? DepEd Order number 47 ang sunod. Let's examine if it is written with the sequence of those legal bases in the framework. DepEd Order number 47. Okay, it's right here. You discuss what the law is all about and also discuss how the law supports your study. 1 to 2 paragraphs class will do. Okay? Republic Act number 10533. It's right here. Okay? This was the curriculum before the Matatag curriculum. This is the curriculum that introduces K-12, right? So you explain what this law all about, then connect that to your study. How this law supports your study. Next, the last legal basis that we have in this particular paper is DepEd Order number 10157. That's it. Then you discuss how this law, this is aligned with this research for this examines the influence, right? So this explains how the law is connected to the study, how the law supports the study. I hope everything is clear and categorical to everyone, class, because this will save you thousands of pesos. Okay? Because right now the trend, there have been a lot of writers who offer their services. So long as these writers have the DTI permit and the rest of the business permits, they're allowable to do that. Just like lawyers provide the legal services and all other professionals, the doctors and so on, right? But again, if you know how to craft the thesis, then you won't need to hire anyone to help you, to guide you in writing this, wherein you have to pay them. So, and that means a lot to your class, surely. So, after the discussion of legal basis, we'll go down to the related studies and literature. In other universities, you might be saying, sir, nganong dito dapita nga university in animan, lahi man ang ilang review of related studies and literature. It is having a particular section na assign or different chapter good, no? Again, in the university class, in CTU, review of the related studies and literature, it is integrated in the theoretical background of the study. And it should be written right after the discussion of the legal basis. Okay? Gets? So, how do you know that this literature and studies are related to your study? Simply go to the findings of these different papers that you can possibly find in any databases, no? Tanawon nimo dito directly ang ilahang mga findings so that you can cite those findings and cite the author of those papers. Do not include papers or findings in the review of the related study and literature which are not related to your investigation at hand, to your inquiry. So focus on the variables that you have, and those variables, kindly examine other studies, what those other authors and other studies say about these variables being investigated. Unsa na mga nahibaw-an nila? Imo tong itahi, imo tong i-discuss. Okay? Unya, before ka mo imong i-highlight ka, mauni ilang mga study all about, na synthesis dito, and you mention that among the studies, there is this particular gap, the gap that the study of mine will be filling in. And that's how you justify in the review of related studies and literature why you conduct this particular study, because that is the gap of the existing studies and literature. Gets? So, in review of related studies and literature in CTU format, you have to cite at least 10 findings right here. Okay? But para na ko class, the more the better. If you can exceed to 15, 20, though this is a thesis, a master's thesis, that would be excellent. That would be tremendous because your paper is expected to be your paper has to be published, must be published as a requirement of CMO Child Memorandum Order, okay, issued in 2019. That graduate students must be able to publish their paper to any peer-reviewed journal or Scopus WOS journals class. But the minimum requirement is peer-reviewed. What's the difference? In peer-reviewed journals, it almost entails low article processing charge, gamay og bayad. And there are journals nga wala po'y bayad. But as determined by Quacquarelli Simon class QS ranking, they always require the Scopus Index and the Web of Science because it has already been proven that these databases, the journals that belong and subscribe to these databases, they have undergone a meticulous, extensive, thorough review processes. Unlike in peer-reviewed journals, some of those, or if not many of those, do not really impose that kind of rigorous double-blind review process. Okay, that's according to the standards established by the QS class. Anyways, so much for that. I'm just trying to give you the reason, the rationale why there's a need to publish the paper. So let's go back to the business. So that's how you write the review of the latest studies and literature class. Okay? Anyway, I'll be giving you a copy of this. I already gave you a copy of this, and I'll be giving you a copy also of the material that I am using right now. So ang katapusan ani nga paragraph sa review of related studies and literature is the closing statement of your discussed theories, legal basis, and related studies and literature. Closing statement to formally close the discussions of of theoretical background of the study. Okay? This is non-negotiable class. So, I'll go back to the other. Yeah, this one. So to sum it up, we have to begin, the theoretical background must begin with the theories. Okay? explain the theory and how it supports the study at hand. Then legal basis. You explain the legal basis and how it supports the study. Then review of related studies and literature class. Right? Then before the last paragraph of theoretical background, you have to highlight the gap of the existing literature review. Okay? And connect it to the reason why your study is being conducted or is being conceived. And the last paragraph of theoretical background must be the closing statements of the discussed theories, legal basis, and related studies. Right? So it is connected. And if you examine this thing, it still follows a deductive approach, deductive reasoning class. And that ends the theoretical background. But before we proceed to the other part, please note that all your legal bases kindly include DepEd Order number 10 series of 2024 because this is the policy guidelines on the implementation of the Matatag curriculum. This is the latest curriculum implemented by DepEd. So when you will craft the paper, please include DepEd Order number 10 series of 2024. Okay? Next is theoretical conceptual framework. I have already explained this one. We're done with this. So after the theoretical background, the next part of the paper is the statement of the problem. I will not dwell on this anymore because I have already given you the corrected copy of your SOP. And so be it. Okay? Final and executory na to class. Ang inyong next na lambuhaton pag-provide mo og survey questionnaire. You have to find an adapted survey questionnaire for you to for you to save some time. But if you cannot find really, you are allowable to create your own researcher-made questionnaire. But please know, the researcher-made questionnaire must undergo the pilot testing, validity, and reliability test as administered by your statistician. Okay? Anyway, you will be given a statistician class when you will enroll in thesis agendum. So nothing to worry about on that. At least you have already the ready-made chapter 1 class as an output of this particular subject. Right? So let's go to the statement of null hypothesis. How do you construct the statement of null hypothesis? So simply construct the correlational questions into, convert, not construct. Convert the correlational questions into negative statement form. That's how you do that. Okay, we'll demonstrate. Am I so far making sense, everyone? Okay, thank you, class. So this is where we end the theoretical background of the study. Next is the SOP, right? So we're done with that. Right here is the statement of null hypothesis. Unsa ito ibuhaton? Imo rang i-convert ang correlational questions into negative statement form. Okay, how do you know that these are correlational questions? How do you spot it? When it begins with the lines like, is there a significant relationship? Is there a significant difference? Those are correlational questions. So in this case, as I mentioned minutes ago, tara, sub-problem number 4, right? Correlational question. Sub-problem number 5, correlational question. So these are the questions that we have to convert into negative statement form, and these become our null hypothesis. Example, is there a significant difference
Sir.
between the teachers and parents' perception? Yes, ma'am?
It's not presenting, sir. The presentation was not.
Okay. Sorry, ma'am. Wala na ko ma-share. Okay. Apology for that, class. What about now? Okay na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, Tara class, as I mentioned, these are the statement of null hypothesis. So saan paghimo? Una, pangitaa ang correlational questions. Nya imo ra tong i-convert into negative statement form like kaning sub-problem number 4, kani, right? Is there a significant significant difference between the teachers and parents' perception? Because in this study, there are two respondent groups, parents or teachers. So mao ni ang first, HO1, kaning 4.1. Imo nang imo nang i-negative form. So, there is no significant, saan i-delete ha? Para maklaro, okay. There is no significant difference between the teachers and parents' perception on the challenges encountered by the learners, right? So we'll proceed now to the next, no? Asa pa to problema ani? Asa pa tong correlational question? 4.2. Is there a significant difference between the teachers and parents' perception on the interventions provided towards the learners? So HO2. HO1 man ganiha. Hypothesis 1. Hypothesis 2 class. There is no significant difference between the teachers and parents' perception on the interventions provided towards the learners. Okay, and the last correlational question, is there a significant relationship between the extent of the challenges encountered and interventions provided to the learners? There is no significant relationship between the extent of the challenges encountered and interventions provided to the learners. And this is hypothesis 3. You might be asking, sir, what if usara ka correlational question? Usara po ang among null hypothesis? The answer is yes. Because the null hypothesis, it depends upon the number of correlational questions that you have in your sub-problems. Okay? Mana kong explain ninyo class unsa ang sub-problems. Ganiha. I hope it is understood. So we are done with the null hypothesis. The next part of chapter 1 is the significance of the study. Okay, significance of the study. Tara. Right? So unsay dapat ibutang sa significance of the study? You describe kinsay maka-benefit sa findings sa study. Unya imong i-sequence from top to bottom. Okay? Let's examine the example class. Let's go back to the paper. So this is it. Significance of the study. Una, maka-benefit ang DepEd, school administrators, guidance counselors. In most cases, it's almost the same with, with the agencies and people mentioned right here. You only have to contextualize the description to the study ninyo. I-contextualize lang. But in most cases, the same ra gyud diri. Then teachers, ganong maka-benefit, ganong ang learners po or students sa mathematics. Dayon ang ilang parents, in what particular way maka-benefit. You can ask the assistants of EI class in crafting this one and have the contents paraphrase, or you can integrate your own ideas. Then school community, researcher. Kani researcher diri class, ikaw ni. In what particular way maka-benefit ka sa imong study? Then kaning future researchers, self-explanatory class. Inyo na lang yung dapita i-contextualize. But basically, it is arranged like this. Exactly. Okay? So we are done with significance of the study. The next part is research methodology. Okay, let's take a look how a research methodology should be written. So research methodology, diri na ta. Unsay una sa research methodology? The design. Okay? Unsa ang design? Sa tanang SOP nga akong gihatag sa inyuha class, you have the descriptive correlational research design. Ngano man, Katong mga sub-problem sa SOP nga ang gamiton nga statistical tool kay weighted mean, standard deviation, percentage, o frequency, those are descriptive by nature, right? Since naaman mo sa inyong SOP nga you test the correlation between this and that is correlational research. So maunang combining the descriptive and correlational research design, we call it as descriptive correlational research design. Gets? Then, please provide a definition of this descriptive correlational research design, cite the author who gave the definition, and explain its appropriateness to your study. And that is the research design. Okay? So, sayo na kay dapita class, dili na ko mabalik sa ganiha nga papel. Next, flow of the study. Let's talk about the flow of the study. Okay, what is being written right here? Follow CTU format. Okay, this is the format of CTU class. Okay, mauning design ganiha class. Kindly read between the lines. Gi-explain na mo giunsa na pagbuhat. So, flow of the study. In CTU, we have the IPO system model. Input, process, and output. So, first thing, inigsugod nimo ani nga section, copy and paste ni diri napita kaning gisuwat diri. I-contextualize sa inyong study.
Walay na ako ang doc na share screen.
Makalimot ko class. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. So this is now the flow of the study. So in the flow of the study, we have used in CTU the IPO model. Input, process, output. So simply like the first stage is the input of the study which determines. So ang imong ibutang ani, ang imuhang sub-problems, imong i-describe, imong isuwat dire. Okay? Imong sub-problems class, except the last sub-problem. Okay? Mao isuwat mo sa input. So, let's go down. Tanawa ni. In this particular paper, mauni iyahang sub-problems nga makitaan sa iyang SOP. Okay? Would you like us to verify? Please take a screenshot or picture to concretize the learning. Karon, nya atong tan-awon og mao ba ni ang naa sa iyahang sub-problems. Again, in the input, ayaw i-appeal ang katapusan nga sub-problem. Because in the SOP, the last sub-problem, that is referring to the output of the study, as I mentioned ganiha. Right? So, balik ta sa iyahang SOP. Tara. Naghanap kanig suwat. Tara. Okay? It's written right there, the profile. Naa, wala. Next, the extent of the challenges in terms of family, classroom, peers, naa, wala. The extent of intervention. Then the test of correlation. Wala gi-appeal ang modification guide. Kay output man eh, ang katapusan nga sub-problem. Right? Okay, let's go back. Og sakto ba ang iyang gisuwat? Profile, extent of challenges, extent of intervention, test of significant difference, test of significant relationship. Okay? So, takdo siya class. Sa process class, this talks about your data gathering. So, copy and paste all these things in the process. Inaghimo ninyo sa inyo ha. Copy and paste. Dayon ang output of the study sa ako nang giingon, this is referring to the last sub-problem ninyo. In this case, we have the behavior modification guide. Okay? That's how you craft the input, process, output. So, mauni ang imuhang figure 2, flow of the study. In the next page, i-continue, no? Kaya wa man to matiwas ang output dito or ang process. Ang description ba, discussion niya. So, gitiwas niya. Kay after ani nga section kaning flow of the study magsugod, ang next page ana non-negotiable must be the diagram. Kani gyud ang next. Nya any other discussion about the IPO i-continue na sa next page after the framework, after the flow of the study nga figure 2. Gets? So we are done with that. We are now in the environment. Sa environment class, I will not dwell on this really because you only have to describe the place where your study will be conducted. In most cases, sa ato ang discipline sa education, eskwelahan gini siya. Katong eskwelahan nga imong gipili didto nimo i-conduct ang imong study. That is the environment of the study. Imo ra nang i-describe. So ang next page, mao ni siya nga section nagsugod ang environment. Ang next page na is the figure 3, the research environment. So mangita na kag mapa dito sa google.com class or image dito, copy and paste, nya pagpicture ang atubangan sa inyong eskwelahan sa imong research environment, and that's it. Nya magbutang lang kag arrow. In this case, sa Dumaguete man no? So that's no need to show the Google map or the satellite, something like, okay? This already suffices, inani. Ma-determine lang asa exactly sa dapit sa Dumaguete. Ana. Then continue in the next page, the description of the research environment. After ana ang respondents na. Okay? Ang respondents, imo describe, imo discuss your selected respondents in your study. Kinsa may mga respondents ana? Teachers, parents, students ba na? Okay? Describe them. Then after nimo describe, pag-provide og table 1, distribution of the respondents. In this particular case, ang respondents niya kay teachers and parents. Right here. Teachers, parents. Pila ka ba teachers? Upat-upat from grade 1 until grade 3. Pila ka ba parents? 30 from grade 1 up to grade 3. So the total of teachers, 16. The total of parents, 120. And all in all, the total respondents of the study, we have 136. Okay, composed of parents and teachers. Unya, below the table 1, imong explain, imong i-interpret ang data sa table 1. Sayo na kayo na class. Kung saan nakasuot sa data, imo lang nang i-describe dire. Then, we're done with the respondents. Next, the instrument. Sa instrument, imo lang i-describe ang imuhang questionnaire nga gigamit. Okay? Nya timan-in ninyo, per sub-problem, it is also a part of the questionnaire. Like in this case, we have the part 1, profile. Part 2, the extent of the challenges. Part 3, the extent of the interventions. Okay, picture ni class. Unya, mabalik ta sa statement of the problem for you to know how to categorize the parts. Picture, screenshot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go now to the statement of the problem. Balik na po tayo sa baba. Okay. So, it is mentioned that the first part is the profile because this is the subproblem 1, first part. The second part is the extent of the challenges, right? In terms of family peers classroom. The part 3, the extent of interventions. There is no part 4. Nganong wa may part 4? Kay dili naman ka kinahanglan og survey questionnaire aning correlational questions, right? So tama na ka sa part 1, part 2, part 3. Okay? Gets? So that's how you write it, class. Let's now proceed to, we are done with the instrument. So kanina pita class, read between the lines because these are just highly self-explanatory, class. Panalitan adapted imong survey questionnaire, you mention it, kani? Like in this case, Sharp et al. And Kranz et al. 2023, no? These are the authors of the adapted survey questionnaire. Imo nang i-mention. Nya, the Likert scale use. So, read between the lines. So, after sa instrument, otherwise known as the research survey questionnaire nimo, the next part is data gathering procedure, the next section. Okay, copy and paste kaning dapat 3 phase of data gathering na kay preliminary, data gathering stage, and the post data gathering. Copy and paste this part lang, students, class, and have this one contextualized in your study. That's it. Sayon gani nga part diha. Preliminary unsay buhaton, mag-send ka og letter dito sa division office, sa Department of Education. So sa imong environment, sa imong research environment kay Cebu City Division, ilisdan mo Cebu City Division. That's how you contextualize. Anara. Okay, just contextualize the contents of data gathering procedures. Anyway, you are given the format. Let's not dwell on that. Statistical treatment class. Unsay naa sa inyo ha? Okay, allow me to go back to the previous slide. In the SOP that I have suggested to you, class, that I have given to you, you will use the following tools. Percentage, kay na ba mo profiling, right? Kamutanan? Percentage, weighted mean, sorry. Murag dapat na frequency. Okay? So, tagaan ta mo copy ani class. Anyway, so ang inyong gamiton kay percentage, frequency katong sa profile ni. Ang weighted mean katuning what is the extent. Ang weighted mean og standard deviation, what is the extent, what is the level, diha nimo gamiton. Ang person R mao ninyong gamiton sa katong correlational questions. So inyo ning i-describe and how these tools will be used in your study asa dapita nga sub problems. That's how you do the statistical treatment. No need to write the formula or to have a sample mathematical equation in the statistical treatment. Dili na needed, class. Okay, as a matter of format. Kinaraan na kay na siya. Because right now, we just use SPSS, we just use Jamovi and all other electronic tools. So, imo lang ni i-mention o imo i-describe. Okay? Unya ay, please, no, as math majors, you are discouraged to make or to create a qualitative study. Okay, ayaw mo ana class. That is discouraged. Kaya nga naman, math majors mo, kinahanglan math major mo, dapat ma-practice, no? Anyways, after this statistical treatment of data, mauni siya isuwat because your study is quantitative. So, data analysis kung qualitative. Anyway, not applicable to you, the qualitative. Scoring procedures. Okay. The scoring procedures are like this. Okay, scoring procedures. Tara. So katong imong mga sub-problems gani class nga naay what is the extent, what is the level, kinahanglan ka mo provide og ingon ani. In order for the readers and future researchers and your respondents to know what does it mean if 5 sa katong sa imong survey questionnaire umutubag silang 5. Unsay meaning ana? Right? Umutubag silang 4, 3, 2, 1. Unya gamit po ding scoring matrix class or rubrics when you will have the results and discussion in the chapter 2. Kaya di ba naaman to weighted mean? Ang aggregate weighted mean, mao man tong imong i-describe po based sa kaning imong scoring rubrics or scoring matrix. So read between the lines, take note if the sub-problems has assessed like what is the extent, what is the level, there's a need to provide scoring rubrics for that. Okay? That's it. What is the extent of the challenges in terms of classroom? The extent of interventions provided towards the learners to cope with the challenges in terms of family, peers, and classroom. So this is the scoring rubrics. And we are now down to the second to the last part class of chapter 1, the definition of terms. Okay? asa man ka, nganong imong i-define ang terms o asa man ka manguha og terms. The first question is nganong imong i-define ang terms. Imong i-define kay basin ang mga terms nga gigamit nimo sa imong study are contextual by nature, meaning it has a unique, different meaning as used in your investigation, as used in your study. Now, the next question, where must you find this? Where must you get these terms that you have to define operationally? You can get this one from the sub-problems. Dito nimo makita ni sa imong SOP or any sub-problem. Okay? Picturein ninyo class and let's try to examine if these matters are seen in the sub-problems. Okay? 542.1, take a screenshot. 54321, take a screenshot. Okay, let's go back now to the statement of the problem to examine if these terms are really indeed in the sub-problems. Okay. Okay. Right here. You might be asking, sir, kanang mga profile like age and gender, kinahanglan pa ba ni i-define? There's no need because we have a universal understanding in terms of this profile. Dili siya ingon ba nga sa Pilipinas, ang meaning sa age, inani. Nya dito sa US, ang meaning na sa edad, inani. So no need to define the profile. Ani hinata? Challenges encountered in terms of family, peers, and classroom. So you have to define that. Are those terms written in the definition of terms? You answer me based on your screenshot. Okay? Next. As perceived, kani, the challenges encountered, the interventions provided in terms of family, peers, and classroom, naabot ni sa definition of terms? The answer is yes. Then lastly, behavior modification guide. Naabot ni sa definition of terms? Definitely yes. And that's how, where you get the terms that you have to define operationally. Adto ka mo balik sa imuhang statement of the problem sa imong sub-problems. Okay? Let's go down now. And that, officially, that ends the chapter 1. Because the last part of chapter 1 is the definition of terms. Ang after ana, appendices na lang. Bibliography. Okay, pattern na ninyo like this class ha? So, after this page, bibliography, inana kadak apod, you write, sayop ni, dapat references na nakabutang dire, not bibliography. Unya, write the references like this format. Inaniyon nyo pagsuwat. Nga mag-una gamay, simang gamay, unya, natupong ang the rest of the text. This is what we call as APA 7 format edition. Okay, read between the lines na ninyo class. Daghan pa rin siya references but wala na ako ma-attach dire. I'm just giving you the sample mangon. So after sa references, appendices, unya imong ibutang ang survey questionnaire nimo. Survey questionnaire nimo, survey questionnaire nimo. Okay? Unya after sa inyong survey questionnaire, curriculum vitae.